Even as Indian diplomacy walks a tightrope since the last more than 2 years, the path still seems complex amid the Russia-Ukraine war. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reached Poland, a first for an Indian Prime Minister in 45 years, as part of his 3-day visit to Europe, which also includes Ukraine. The visit comes after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky criticized Prime Minister Modi for meeting Russian President Vladimir Putin a month ago at the Kremlin, on a day when Russia was accused of bombing a hospital. Even as voices from the West, particularly the United States, hint at India's role in pushing Putin to back off, the Modi government has now moved towards strengthening ties with Central and Eastern Europe, a relationship that has taken center stage as the geodynamics of the world changes. India and Poland share strong defense ties, with Polish companies being contracted with modernization of military tanks and delivery of air missiles. India has acquired 625 assault parachutes from Poland and 80 WZT-3 armored recovery vehicles for the Indian Army. With trade between the two countries at $5.72 billion in 2023, Poland is India's largest trade partner in Eastern and Central Europe. However, even as PM Modi leads India's strategic move in Europe amid changed global geopolitics, the question remains, is India's independent and non-aligned foreign policy buckling under pressure? Bureau Report, Mirror Now. Joining me on the show today is Patryk Kugiel. He is a senior analyst at the Polish Institute for International Affairs. I'm also joined by Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar. Good evening and namaskar to both of you gentlemen. Before I understand the Indian perspective, let me try and understand the Polish perspective. Patryk, to you first. How is this visit by the Indian Prime Minister for the first time in the last 45 years being seen by Poland? Clearly, the two countries share a strong relationship. The focus is to strengthen it further. But as of now, amid the changing geopolitics, how is Poland looking at the Indian Prime Minister's visit?
We're waiting for this visit for a very long time. So we are very much excited and happy that Prime Minister Modi finally arrived to Poland. And I think it will add strength to our relationship in many dimensions. I think the discussions will focus on economic cooperation, and you have presented already several sectors on which we can cooperate in future. But more importantly, I believe that this visit will add another dimension to our partnership, this strategic and defense and security dimension and political dimension to this partnership. The relationship between our countries has been always friendly and cordial, but in the last 30 years, they were somehow neglected. There were not very regular and high-level visits, and I think this will help also India to have its policy towards the European Union to stand on two legs. India has been reinvigorating its relationship with Western countries for time, but it has somehow paid less attention to the Central Europe. So now I think this visit will help India's relations with the whole European Union and the whole Europe to get another boost and being strengthened. And for Poland the same. We have been very active in cooperating with China for the last couple of years. So I think this visit will help to have.
Patryk, I'm going to come to the China factor a bit later. Let me take this point across. Ambassador Sajjanhar, Ambassador Sajjanhar, the fact is that Pandit Nehru was instrumental in starting this relationship back in 1954. We had Morarji Desai visit Poland in 1979. But why did it take 45 years for India to go back to Central and Eastern Europe?
I think look at relations with Europe. It has been extending. Europe started.
All right, there seems to be a network issue there with Ambassador Sajjanhar. Ambassador, we'll try and fix that network issue with you. All right, I think... all right, let's try and fix that. Let me go across to Patryk till then. Patryk, we were talking about the China factor. And I want to understand from you, there's been a large dependence on China when it comes to trade. Uh, do you think with the kind of geopolitics and the post-COVID era that we've seen and how global supply chains have been disrupted, that over-dependence by Europe on China needs to be curtailed now?
Yes, I think we share the same concern. Both India and Europe, including Poland, has become too much dependent on China, and we need to diversify. We can call it the risking or the coupling, but India can play an important role in this. I think for Polish and European companies in general, India emerges now as a very attractive market. European Union is negotiating the free trade area with India, protection investment agreement with India. So we are heading in a very good position. China has been very active in Central Europe for the last couple of years. You might have heard about the 16+1 formula, which China developed to strengthen relations with Central Europe. And India was not present here, simply. So China took an advantage of this situation. But at the same time, geopolitical context has changed. The most important partner for Poland is certainly the United States of America, which has very tense relations with China. So I think it would be also an obstacle for developing cooperation with China further on. And here India can
which is what I
emerge
was
as a
coming
very
to next,
important...
Patryk. The fact that there is a large Western influence on how Europe takes forward its policies, particularly its diplomacy, its foreign affairs, and how it really stands on certain issues. Do you think that should now be changing? That should have, that European Union should actually have, and different countries of European Union should be having their own foreign policy instead of being largely influenced by the Western thought and by the Western decisions?
I think every country must have independent foreign policy, but at the same time, Poland is a part of European Union. So we need to coordinate our position on a number of issues with our friends and partners in Europe. Poland is also a part of the NATO alliance, which is very important for Poland because of our geographical position in Europe, and because of the threat that we see from the east, from Russia. So for this reason, we must be more cautious in our approach to foreign relations. We support stronger strategic autonomy of the European Union. We need to also be less dependent and reliant on security guarantees from the United States, because the US attention is also being shifted from Europe to the Indo-Pacific. So Europe needs to invest more in its own defense. Is leading by example in this regard. We have been spending more than 4% of GDP for defense last year. Polish army is undergoing historical massive transformation and modernization. It is also one area on which we can cooperate with India. We are developing our own defense industry in Poland, but we are also keen to join hands with friendly countries like India to develop some weapons and systems together with India. We can sell India already battle-tested weaponry, but also we would be interested in buying from India. So defense is certainly one of the most strategic areas for cooperation between India and Poland.
Sure.
And this is linked to the fact that Europe needs to be more autonomous in its foreign policy.
Absolutely. We have Ambassador Sajjanhar back with us on the broadcast. Ambassador Sajjanhar, I was trying to understand from you, why has it taken India 45 long years to go back to Central and Eastern Europe? We had Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru being instrumental in starting these ties back in 1954. We then saw Morarji Desai going to Poland in 1979. But 45 years is a long time.
Yeah, you're very right, Shreya. And I'm sorry, my connectivity was not too good earlier. I hope it's better now. So, yes, it has taken us a long time, but we also need to understand that it's a group of 28 countries, European Union. And what we have done is, we have been connecting with Brussels, which is the headquarters of the European Union. we have been connecting with the individual countries, a large number of the individual countries in the European Union. And in that context, some of the countries do tend to get left out. But, like the five countries of the Nordics, we have started an India Nordic summit every 2 years. And as far as Poland is concerned, there are 4 countries which have a sub-national grouping of their own. And that is Poland, Czechia, Slovakia, and Hungary. And we could have, an interaction with these countries. But otherwise, I think Minister Modi, over the last 10 years that he has come, we have at very high levels, political levels, we have tried to reach out to as many countries as possible. So it is good that the Prime Minister has today gone to Poland also, and that will strengthen our relationship, our multifaceted relationship. And there are also possibilities and many opportunities of in context of the changing equation in the world, the geopolitical equation. And Poland is right in the center. So in addition to having
Ambassador
our
Sajjanhar,
discussions on
unfortunately, that
bilateral
network fluctuation still remains. But let me go across to Patryk before I wrap this discussion up. Patryk, 70 years of the Indo-Polish relationship, there's a lot that the two countries share, not just in defense partnership and strategic ties, but, culture-to-culture ties, the fact that Poland has been a center of Indology studies. There have been students who have been studying and reading Sanskrit there. How do you see this relationship really moving forward now?
It will be going from strength to strength, and the Prime Minister visit will only help to boost cooperation across the sectors. And as you said, people-to-people links is a very important part of this partnership. We have growing Indian diaspora in Poland. 10 years ago, it was only 2,500 people living legally in Poland for on a longer term. And this time, 10 times more. It's at least 25,000 Indians living in Poland and being very much successful in Poland. We have direct flight connections since 2019, so you can come to Poland in 6 hours from Delhi, with direct flight. We have more and more cooperation between universities and think tanks like ours and ICWA, for example, in India. So these links between people are growing. This will only strengthen and make the relationship much stronger in the future. And also, business-to-business relations must follow suit. And we are looking forward to enter the Indian market, to share our technologies, to open factories in India. And we are also eager to invite more investments from India. We have already Infosys, Wipro, or other Indian companies which are operating successfully from Poland and giving an employment to thousands of Poles. So I think this relationship can be only mutually beneficial, and the highest level interactions must be followed. And hopefully this visit will only be a beginning of the era of cooperation between our countries, and I believe that next step would be a reciprocal visit from Poland to India of Polish President or Prime Minister Tusk, but maybe we'll hear more about it tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow is when the two leaders are expected to meet. In fact, Mr. Narendra Modi is also expected to meet with the President, Andrzej Duda. But we'll leave it there. Patryk, thank you very much. Ambassador Sajjanhar, thank you very much to you as well for joining us on the broadcast and sharing your perspective on this historic visit by Prime Minister Modi to Poland.